Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Playbook, where I'll give you a breakdown of what's been happening in the world of sport over the last 7 days. You're joined by your host, Demos. It's been a huge week in the world of sport over the last 7 days, so you know the drill. Let's get right into it. In swimming, the Aussie women's and men's team both get gold in the 4x100 relay. In the World Championships in Singapore, the Golden Girls won gold and retained their World Championship status for the 4x100 relay. They were closely followed behind by the US in second place and the Netherlands in third place. For the Aussie women's team, they extend their World Championship status ever since they claimed the world record back in the 2018 Commonwealth Games held on the Gold Coast. Only minutes after the women's success in the relay, the men's relay team went out and also won the 4x100 relay. It was held together by the anchor leg, which was Kyle Chalmers, and they got the championship record. The Australians won, closely followed behind by Italy in second place, and then the favourites, which were the US, in third. As we record this on Tuesday the 29th of July, Australia are currently second in the medal tally. They currently hold 10 medals and 6 of them are gold medals. In first place is the People's Republic of China, who have received 16 medals, 10 of which are gold. In the AFL, the GWS Giants come from behind to defeat the Sydney Swans and to end their finals chances. In the 31st edition of the Sydney Derby, the contest got off to a fiery start and they were into each other before the first bounce. The Swans went into halftime up 52-22, but the Swans, they weren't prepared for the orange tsunami that was about to wipe out Angie Stadium. The Giants came out in the third quarter and fired back with 57 points in the third quarter alone. They went on to win the match 102-58. Jake Stringer and Aaron Cadman fired for the Giants, both getting 3 goals of their own. But in other games, St Kilda have pulled off the biggest comeback in AFL history. St Kilda were down by as much as 46 points going into that final quarter, but it was through their star, Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera, who got 2 goals in the final minute to get St Kilda the biggest comeback victory in the AFL. So in other words, Nasiah is definitely the Messiah. Well, the Gold Coast Suns, they returned back to the form that saw them beat Collingwood only a fortnight ago. They defeated the Brisbane Lions by 66 points in the Queensland Derby. For the Gold Coast Suns, that's their 12th victory of the season. That's the most in their club history. In the NRL, the return of Mitch Moses helps the Eels to defeat the Broncos. The Eels travelled to Brisbane to face the Broncos, who are building nicely going into the NRL finals. For the first time since State of Origin 2 camp, Mitch Moses returned from his calf strain. Zach Lomax starred for the Eels with 2 tries and 158 metres, but it was at the final minute that had everyone talking. For Broncos fans, they thought they won the match through a Reece Walsh try in the final minute, but it was proven that Reece Walsh was in front of the kicker and he was offside and didn't get that try. The Eels went on to win the match 22-20. In the other games, the Roosters and the Storm had a Thursday night classic, with the Storm coming up eventual winners 34-30. The game, it wasn't without drama. Jerome Hughes, the 2024 Dally M medal winner, dislocated his shoulder midway through the second half. But Harry Grant steered the ship and got the victory for the Melbourne Storm. The Titans went to New Zealand and got a big win over the Warriors in Des Hasler's 500th game as NRL coach. They defeated the Warriors 24-16. And on Sunday afternoon at Allianz Stadium, the Bulldogs paid tribute to their 1995 Grand Final winning team. The Bulldogs, they wore special tribute jerseys to honour the 1995 team, and the 95 team were there to form a guard of honour for the current Bulldogs players. The Bulldogs and Manly had a great game. It was 12-4 about midway through the second half, but the Bulldogs, they turned the screws and found their form. They defeated Manly 42-4. For the Bulldogs, Bronson Xerri and Jacob Kiraz both scored doubles during this historic match. In football, the Lionesses win the 2025 Euros in penalties. That's right, football is coming home for a second time thanks to the women's national team. Spain were the first to score, but thanks to Alessia Russo, England levelled the scores early in the second half. The match went into extra time with neither side being able to break the deadlock. So the match, it went into penalties. And who else stood up for England? But none other than Chloe Kelly, England's striker. Chloe got the match-winning penalty and England went on to win the 2025 Euros. The ball hit the back of the net at 110 kilometres an hour. That's enough for a speeding ticket. For England though, there were some notables to come out of this match. Lucy Bronze, who is England's right back, played majority of the tournament with a broken tibia. She played the fourth most minutes of any England player with over 598 tournament minutes. Hannah Hampton, who is England's goalkeeper, played for her late grandfather. Hampton went into the final with Grandpa inscripted into the neckline of her jersey. It was a touching tribute from Hampton, which I'm sure she was feeling a lot of emotions throughout this tournament. In netball, the Melbourne Vixens come from 11 points down to secure their place in the grand final. The Melbourne Vixens have upset the New South Wales Swifts in Sydney in the prelim final. The New South Wales Swifts, who are coming off a forgettable semi-final, played some of the best netball that they have in recent weeks, and they had the upper hand for majority of this game. Simone McInnes, the Melbourne Vixens head coach, gathered her troops around and said to the Melbourne Vixens players, "We have nothing to lose." Down by 10 points at this stage, the Melbourne Vixens played like they had nothing to lose. Kira Austin proved once again why she's one of the best goal attacks in the Suncorp Super Netball. Austin secured 3 Suncorp Super shots to get the Vixens in a fighting chance. Sophie Garbin scored a goal with 10 seconds remaining, so the Swifts had sent a pass. The Swifts had a chance to go into extra time with only seconds remaining. Grace Wecky received the ball, passed to Helen Housby, but Housby was unable to sink that all-important goal. The Vixens won that match 56-55. Who would have thought a trip to the pub would prove so pivotal to getting the Vixens into the grand final? The Vixens will go on to play the West Coast Fever in this Saturday's grand final at Rod Laver Arena. In tennis, Alex de Minaur wins an epic Washington DC final. De Minaur won his 10th singles title in an epic tie-break match that went on for over 3 hours. Alex de Minaur enters the top 10 once again after being out of the top 10 for about 6 weeks. De Minaur also saved championship point in the third set and went on to win the match. And in cycling, Tadej Pogačar wins his 4th Tour de France. Tadej becomes the 6th person to win 4 or more Tour de France's in its 122-year history. Tadej flagged post-race that he's in no rush to win his 5th Tour de France because he fears that he might burn out, as cycling is one of the most mentally and physically demanding sports, especially over the Tour de France, with 21 stages. In Rugby Union, the British and Irish Lions win the second test and the series against the Wallabies. In the first half, the Wallabies had the upper hand, leading at one point 23-5, but the Lions chipped away at this lead. They went into the half down 23-17, but the match would have one final twist. In the final minute, in one of the rucks, Wallabies player Carlo Tizzano arrived at the ruck and Lions player Jacques Morgan hit Tizzano in the back of the neck. And in accordance to Rugby Union laws, a player must not hit another above the line of the shoulders. He hit him in the back of the neck. The Lions went on to score this match and it went up to the TMO. For those that don't know, the TMO is the television match official. And in that review, they deemed that that tackle was legal in that maul and that they didn't see any foul play by Morgan, the Lions player. The Lions came from 18 points down to hit the lead in the final minute of the match. It was a disappointing end to the game for Wallabies fans. But for Wallabies fans, there's a lot to be proud about with the fight of this Wallabies side. The final match will be held in Sydney at Accor Stadium this Saturday at 7:30. And with that, we will take a short break and after get into your burning rubber breakdown. It's time for the burning rubber breakdown. Let's burn it up. In Formula 1, Oscar Piastri wins the Belgian Grand Prix. The race, it was delayed for an hour and 20 minutes due to the rainfall, and Spa is well known for a rain delay. 2021. For some cars and drivers though, they elected in Saturday's qualifying session to focus on a wet setup, which means the cars have a higher downforce, which means the rear wing lowers the car to the ground so cars have more grip. What this meant though was due to the rain delay, those cars did not get that advantage. So for the likes of Max Verstappen and Red Bull, they were seething at the rain delay, blaming the FIA for not being strong enough and not giving them a go. On the first non-safety car lap, which was lap 5 of 44, Norris got a little bit out of shape coming out of the first corner. Piastri, in second place, saw the opportunity and made his move. After getting a great entry through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, down the Kimmel Straight, Oscar Piastri made his move and he made it stick. He got into first place on the first racing lap. On lap 12, Piastri pitted for new tyres, and then it was a tyre management game. Oscar Piastri had to hold on for 32 laps with his old tyres. Norris was catching him at a rate of knots, but Norris made 3 crucial errors in the pursuit to get his teammate. But Piastri, the championship leader, kept his cool and his composure and went on to win the race. For Piastri, he's the first Australian Formula 1 driver to get 6 race wins in one season. With his 8th career win, Oscar Piastri equals Daniel Ricciardo's race record. That is this week's Burning Rubber Breakdown. And now it's time to get into your fast fact for a pub chat. It's time to pull up a chair and pour yourself a drink. It's this week's fast fact for a pub chat. This week's fast fact is in the NRL and it's dedicated to the Bulldogs. Thanks to their victory on Sunday against Manly, the Bulldogs secured their 1,000th first grade victory in the NRL. The Bulldogs only become the 3rd team to achieve this milestone. The 2 other teams in question are the Roosters and the Rabbitohs. That is this week's fast fact for a pub chat. And now it's time for the Playbook Planner. Here are some games to look forward to this weekend. In the AFL, the Western Bulldogs will go up against the GWS Giants. This will be on Thursday, the 31st of July at 7:30pm. You can catch the game on Channel 7, Kayo or Foxtel. In the NRL, the Warriors take on the Dolphins in a top 8 clash. It'll be on Friday, the 1st of August at 6pm. You can only catch the game on Kayo or Foxtel. In Rugby Union, the Wallaroos will go up against Wales on Friday, the 1st of August at 7pm. You can catch this game only on Stan Sport. In the AFL, the Adelaide Crows will go up against Hawthorn in another top 8 clash. It's on Friday, the 1st of August at 7:40pm. You can catch this on Channel 7, Kayo or Foxtel. In Rugby League, it's the NRLW Magic Round. It will be held in Newcastle for 2 days, Saturday the 2nd of August and Sunday the 3rd of August. Games start from 12:15 on Saturday and on Sunday from 11:45am. You can catch all of those games on KO Sports. And in netball, it's the grand final. The West Coast Fever will take on the Melbourne Vixens at Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne. For Simone McInnes, this is her final game as head coach of the Vixens. She has held that position for 13 years and gets one final shot at the grand final. It's on Saturday, the 2nd of August at 7:30pm. You can catch it on KO Sports, Binge or Foxtel. And in Rugby Union, it's the 3rd and final test. The Wallabies will go up against the British and Irish Lions in Sydney. It'll be held on Saturday, the 2nd of August at 7:45pm. You can catch this on 9 Now. And finally, in Formula One, it's the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's on Sunday, the 3rd of August at 11pm Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. You can catch this only on KO Sports and Foxtel. And with that, we have come to the end of today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If there's someone who hasn't listened to the Sports Playbook before, I would love for you to send this episode to them so they can get their sports news within 15 minutes delivered for their commute. We will catch you on the next play.